The fate of Amphibia will come down to the power of love. Yes, I truly and fully believe this. And no, I don't think it'll be exactly like every other instance of this trope that we've ever seen. I do think that the Amphibia writers plan to go some different directions with it than what we're used to. And yes, I do think that at least some amount of that power of love is going to be the love between the three human characters, the three main human characters, Anne, Marcy, and Sasha. And no, that does not mean that I necessarily think that the three characters are going to end up in a polyamorous relationship by the end of the series. Though, I genuinely wish that they would. Like, how cool would it be to see three young queer women in a relationship with each other in a Disney show? That would be such good representation. But this is Disney we're talking about. Though, this is the same Disney that has a gay lead romance and a non-binary love interest in its other flagship show right now, animated show, The Allen House. So maybe it could happen. I still doubt it, though, even if I do personally want to see it. But even if these three characters do not end up in a romantic relationship with each other by the end, it cannot be denied that the three girls do love each other. One of my dogs is gulping down a lot of water right now. Yeah, you guys hear that? No, but like straight up, these characters do love each other to some degree or another. They were inseparable before they came to Amphibia. Disappointing each other has literally changed them as people. The thought of them having to separate is literally the reason that Marcy brought the three of them to Amphibia in the first place. They blush when they touch each other. They blush when they talk to each other, or when they haven't seen each other for a while. And in Marcy's nightmare vision, in that weird hologram trap thing, from the one episode with the gay newts, the nightmare images of Anne and Sasha literally fuse together into a giant two-headed monster with a heart on their t-shirt. And there's like prom imagery and stuff in the background. You can see why I think that this is, like, that they're going for a romantic bend to it. But love is a factor here from some angle. We also know, as of Mother of Olms, that Anne, being the one character who still has a connection to her music box stone, is the key to restoring the connection between the other two girls and their stones and giving them their cool anime powers, which is apparently the canon term for them, and I love that so much. And the show hasn't talked a lot about the specific attribute assigned to each of the girls, and therefore each of their stones, for a while. So just as a refresher, Anne is heart, which is analogous to love as a concept. Even though love is not literally stored in the human heart organ, colloquially that's what we say. Meanwhile, Sasha is strength, and Marcy is mind. And isn't love a source of strength? And doesn't love give people clarity of mind? That's like literally what it was literally part of Marcy's trial, right? Was to show that she could put others before her brain teasers. Like literally, love gave her clarity of mind. And in universe is a focus of the other powers, just like in terms of the story, she's become a focus of the other powers since she's the one who can restore the other two. And while I don't know for sure that Sasha's not going to get her connection back with her stone until the war that keeps being mentioned, I do think it's possible that she will. But even if she doesn't, wouldn't it make sense if it is the restoration of the bond between the three girls that saves Marcy from the core? And not specifically because their bond is strong enough to pull her out, but because their bond is strong enough to pull her out just long enough for her to acknowledge that their bond has been restored, which, through Anne, restores her connection to the music box, gives Marcy her cool anime powers, and then allows her to use those to break free. This would be where, if Sasha hasn't unlocked her powers yet, she also would, and then they'd just curb stomp the bad guys. Like, yeah, it would be amongst a big cool action sequence, and it would lead into a big, cool action sequence. But wouldn't it make thematic sense for Anne to be the core of this relationship as it's restored? Doesn't it make sense that that would happen, considering that they've made her the focal point for the other two girls getting their magic back? They're parallel to each other. But that's not even all that I mean. When I say that the fate of Amphibia comes down to the power of love, there's something else that I'm considering here too. Because there's another trio that is extremely important to this story, and that's Andreas and his two friends, Beryl and Leaf. Because don't we have analogs for Beryl and Leaf in the story now? Like back when we discovered Beryl's Warhammer, I was really disappointed that Sasha didn't get to keep it and wield it. Because, like, one, it matches her magic color, and two, wouldn't it just been so cool to see this blonde cheerleader swinging around a giant Warhammer all the time? I think it would have been. Maybe I'm just weird. And you cannot tell me that a writing staff full of people who gave these three girls awesome Super Saiyan abilities, I mean, I assume all of their abilities are roughly the same, right? That's beside the point. You can't tell me that none of those writers also thought it would be cool to have Sasha carrying around that giant Warhammer. And, like, I can't say for sure, but that says to me that giving it to Grime specifically is to make him more like Beryl. Because holding the Warhammer, while his similarity to Beryl isn't one-to-one, he's definitely pretty stinking close. And now he's started learning to appreciate fighting alongside Sprig, who is the spitting image of his obvious ancestor, Leaf. Considering that the show just set up the fact that the two of them are getting along better now, and that they train together and fight well together, I would be genuinely surprised if they don't end up fighting together in the war. And if the two of them are going to fight together in the war, it would be such a wasted opportunity for the two of them not to face off against Andreas and remind him of his friends. Like, it's possible that Andreas even recognizes that Sprig is related to Leaf. He just didn't show it, because it seems like whenever he's, feeling something he doesn't want to feel, he just goes all stoic, right? That may even be why he tried to kill Sprig back in True Colors. Like, obviously there were other factors in that decision too, but specifically Sprig, right? Maybe he even in some weird twisted way thought that killing Anne's friend Sprig was some kind of apt revenge against Leaf for betraying him. A way of sparing Anne of that same pain, while at the same time getting revenge for what she did. And just like Anne, Sasha, and Marcy, Beryl, Andreas, and Leaf do seem to have had some degree of love for each other. It was platonic friend love, but still, love was a factor in their relationship. They cared about each other very deeply. So some corruption of that love, some corrupted half restoration of that bond, I think could definitely play a part in the final battle. I think Andreas, as he is fighting amongst the ruins of his plans, as things are starting to go to crap, I think he might come against these two and be reminded, in his weakened mental state, of his lost friends. He might lose his shit. I think that their presence might give him one last chance to make the right choice and, symbolically at least, choose his friends over his father. But there's another love connection too. Even though Andreas' father was clearly horrible to him, it's also very clear that Andreas loves his father and wants to live up to his father's expectations for him. And I think that knowing how long Andreas has been getting up to all of this and everything that he's sacrificed and all that he's willing to do just to prepare for the coming invasion of Earth, is the show telling us that in the end, Andreas is not going to be able to escape the lure of his father. He's not going to be able to make the right choice this time. He's just going to perpetuate the same mistake over again, and that's going to be his downfall in whatever amounts to this show's final battle. That his inability or unwillingness, or both, to break the cycle is what's going to destroy him. Now, there's still the possibility that he will make the right choice, and he will symbolically choose his friends this time and be in that way redeemed. But I don't think that would work as well, thematically. Andreas represents a generation that is dead and gone, whereas the girls represent a new generation that can do better for not just this world, but all worlds. It makes sense to me that the show would ditch that old generation in favor of the new. That it would show that old, bigoted generation falling off and being replaced by a new, brighter one. The world does not need Andreas anymore. So I don't see why he has to survive this at all, frankly. So, like, yes, love isn't the only factor in this. It's just sort of the spark that ignites all of these various situations. But it really is the common factor here. The common denominator linking everything together. And considering that the main human character of this show is the one tied to the power of heart, of love, I think that's what makes the most thematic sense, is that if there's going to be any through line to the show, it's going to be love, and the way that love strengthens us and the way love can corrupt us and harm us. And what real love looks like versus the manipulative, abusive non-love between an abusive parent and their child. I could very well be wrong. There's a lot of other themes in the show that could come to the forefront as it progresses. But I like this one the best. I'm a romantic at heart, for lack of a better term. I was trying to think of something funnier to say, but let's be accurate rather than goofy for once. But keeping that in mind, keeping in mind that there are other themes that this show could use to act as the through line for the whole thing by the end. What do you guys think of this theory? What do you think of any of the ideas that I put forth in this video? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, you might as well like the video, share it with anyone else who you think would enjoy my content, subscribe if you haven't. You can also check out links to my various social medias, as well as the many ways you can help out the channel, and the Owl House theory that I put out a couple days ago, that I'm also very proud of, and I'd like more people to check that out. But either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.